And after, we get the mayor of the city of Ekurhuleni to do the welcoming remarks. Then after, we get the Minister of Transport to introduce the Honorable President. And then we proceed with the order of the day. And quickly we get a leadership to tour the new facility. Quickly, for opening remarks, Mr. Zamani Lejena.
Good morning. Ndao. Dimacheroni. Ausheni. Kuyamore. Dumelang. Lochani. His Excellency President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, Executive Mayor of Ekurhuleni, Councillor Mzwandile Masina, Trustees of the Municipal Employees Pension Fund, and the General Manager of Radisson OR Tambo, Mr. Rob van der Velde, CEO of Level 7 Restaurant, Mr. Desmond Mabuza, Cabinet Ministers, MECs, Speakers, Councillors, and traditional leaders, media, members of the media, and ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all today on this momentous occasion of the official launch of the Radisson Hotel and Convention Center, OR Tambo, by His Excellency President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa. And I'm happy that, Mr. President, you brought in the spirit of Oliver Regional Tambo to this occasion. We would like to thank you, Mr. President, for making the time in your very busy schedule to grace us with your presence. We know that you are a very busy man. And I would like to thank you for your courageous leadership in the battle against the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly on the economy. As Agani Properties, our stakeholders, would like to congratulate you for the job well done. You saved our country. Today's August occasion reminds me of the words of our founding president, the late Dr. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, when he said, I quote, "It always seems impossible until it's done." It always seems impossible until it's done, close quote. How this dream came about. I used to stay in this property as a farmer. Though I was not farming, the idea of a hotel development commenced when South Africa won a bid to host the 2010 World Cup. I then converted the farmhouse into 27 rooms. I did make some money, but it wasn't something to take home or to talk about. The demand rocketed, and I then extended the rooms to 40. I also constructed 120 seating facilities, which was later made the demand thereafter was 3 times more than I had. As a consequence of all these experiences, I then registered a company called Agani Properties to enable me to drive this huge elephant. This strategy prompted us to identify the possible direction and the land for possible development. We then embarked on this journey to develop a hotel and conference facility of this scale 8 years ago. Little did we know that the global economy would be faced by the COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic is a challenge for the economy, but it also presents a rare opportunity in history for leaders across all facets of society to do things differently and never allow mediocrity and despair to define us. It calls for a resolute leadership and great partnership to great things done, notwithstanding the dissenting voices of doom and gloom. This hotel and conference center is testament to a great partnership between Akani Properties as developers and the Municipal Employees Pension Fund. Today it's well represented here by its board members. Mr. President, your appeal for pension fund to invest in the infrastructure, and I can attest that your appeal has started. Let me say the tourism industry, it's a complex one, as there are a lot of gatekeepers. We then decided as a board that we need to get an operator, particularly in Ekurhuleni. We then appointed Rajisen to be the operator of this big elephant here. And it's led by Rob van Velden. Mr. President, if we want to make a serious dent on unemployment and social decay, it is only through strong partnership between government and the private sector that will be able to take our country forward. Diversification, by its very nature, is a good idea and a strategy. However, diversification by investing offshore is equal not that good, but bad for the local market or the economy. You recollect that by investing offshore, you are improving market outside South Africa. Whereas if we do a development of this nature and many more, South Africa could be different in the next 3 years. And I would like to recommend you, Mr. President, for creating conducive environment for the private sector to play a bigger role in the community. This is contained in your recovery plan. As Akani, we are ready to do more, even to partner with you in this very good decision. Some few years ago, Ekurhuleni Metro took a resolution to develop through a strategy called Erythropolis. This investment in the city of Ekurhuleni is a clear demonstration of our commitment to the future of the city as the next frontier of investment and development. As investors, we invest for the long term and greater good of society while generating sustainable returns for our clients. Through this development, we created roughly 1,500 employees during construction. That was annually in the last 2.5 years. And more than 500 full-time jobs will be created at peak operational performance of this facility here in the next couple of months. I hope by then even the COVID will allow us to operate. We are happy to report that most of the labor will be sourced from the local communities surrounding the prison, the precinct. Mr. President, in honor of the longest serving president of the African National Congress, the late Mr. Oliver Reginald Tambo, we have named the Hotel Radisson OR Tambo, and it is our hope that all stakeholders in the precinct will live up to his values, service to local and global visitors in many years to come. I thank you.
in memory of the longest serving president of the ANC, President OR Tambo, whom we are celebrating today. We're doing it in style. We're also celebrating Black excellence. Let's give a round of applause again to Mr. Eletina. Here, the Minister of Sports and Culture, Minister Natim Tetwa, the MEC of Education in Gauteng, who's also acting on behalf of the Premier, Honorable Panyaza Lesufi, the various MMCs from the city of Eguruleni, the city manager, Dr. Imogen Mashazi, councillors that are here. We'll continue to welcome the other guests as they arrive. We want to invite now to the stage the Honorable Executive Mayor of the city of Eguruleni, Councillor Mzwandile Masina, to actually give us a welcome address. A round of applause.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Let me take this opportunity to greet the President of the Republic, Dr. Cyril Ramaphosa, greet the Minister of Transport, Minister Fikile Mbalula, the owners of Akandi, the entire board is led by our brother here, the leadership of the institution that I lead, the city, the MMCs that are here, and all the business community around this area. I was sharing with the President earlier that we are presiding over 300 billion rand worth of investment, of which 25 billion rand is already under construction. Others were just ticking all the boxes so that we can ensure that we give these investors the opportunity to invest in our city. We are quite delighted that there is an appetite from private sector to buy into the Erythropolis master plan that we are executing. We are expanding our infrastructure here, including water, electricity, as well as bulk infrastructure in general, so that our investors don't have to worry about additional water capacity, additional electricity capacity, and so on. We are doing all these things to invest state money because the private sector has also shown confidence into the work that we are doing as a city. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our coalition partners that have worked with us to understand that there is an ANC-driven mandate that we have to implement in government, which we have been selling vigorously to private sector in terms of ensuring that we are all able to implement and execute. This is not our day. Mr. President, this is one of the facilities almost worth over 700 million that has been constructed here in our area by Black private investors. I'm happy that they've been able to team up in terms of management because they own the building. Radisson runs the actual facility here, as it was explained. When they had difficulties between that time, when we came in 2016, we made sure that this vision is realized. This hotel is built and completed on time, and we are happy to be here today to be witnessing this hotel. But also thanks to the management, because some of the small ideas we've sold to them, they have implemented those ideas to identify themselves with the great Oliver Reginald Tambo as our icon here. All the things, people always ask me, why are you naming everything after OR Tambo? Because he was larger than life. We will name everything, and we're now lobbying the university that is going to be built here to be also named Oliver Reginald Tambo University of Science and Technology. That's the work that we are doing here in the city of Eguruleni. Mr. President, today it is not my day. I want to thank you and your team for allowing us to share this great vision, which is becoming a reality within the city. I would like to thank each and every one of you who is here now. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Indeed, the city of Eguruleni is at work. We also want to acknowledge Mr. Dali Tambo and his wife and the Tambo family for coming and gracing this beautiful event this morning. Welcome to the city of Eguruleni, the city of Erythropolis. So Erythropolis is nothing else but the airport economy. And this is what we are actually, continuing, celebrating, and will continue to celebrate with all the beautiful developments that are happening in our space. We just quickly want to invite the Minister of Transport, Honorable Fikile Razmataz Balula, to come and introduce the President. Thank you very much.
I was asking the owners, I want to see the presidential suit in this hotel. Thank you very much, Program Director. I did introduce the President earlier on, and he said I must not talk too much. I just want to take this opportunity. It is my singular honor to introduce to you a man who needs no introduction, the President of the Republic, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. Mr. President.
Program Director, Executive Mayor of Ekurhuleni, Councillor Mzwandile Masina, Minister Mbalula, Mr. Zamani Lejane, distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, and indeed councillors from Ekurhuleni Council, the Tambo family, as represented by Dali Tambo and his lovely wife. Dali Tambo is already standing at the door of the hotel, signifying that indeed this is an OR Tambo hotel. Whilst Minister Mbalula is talking about the presidential suite, Dali Tambo is looking at the whole hotel. It's wonderful to be here, officially open this magnificent hotel, but we also are here to celebrate the value of hope and tenacity. From the story that we heard from my brother Zamani, the way in which he's gone about making sure that this elephant stands here is frankly a story of great hope and tenacity. For much of this year, the world has borne the social and economic devastation of the coronavirus pandemic, and I'm very pleased to see that all of you standing here are wearing your masks and you are doing social distancing and adhering to the protocols that are meant to keep us all safe, particularly at this time as we're beginning to see worrying signs with regards to infections. Our country has not been spared from this pandemic and its effects. Our economy has been plunged into great turmoil. People have lost their jobs, and many promising investments have been put on hold or shelved. Now, the opening of this hotel and conference precinct is therefore about so much more than what we have seen before us. It is a practical demonstration of the resilience, particularly black entrepreneurs who are investing in the future of our country. It is about their determination to press ahead with developments that will have a lasting impact on the city, on the province, and in the country as well. Akani Properties in partnership with the Radisson Group, have really built what I see as a world-class facility right here in Ekurhuleni. Given its proximity to OR Tambo International Airport, this hotel will tap into the valuable business tourism market, and the adjacent conference center will attract opportunities in conferencing, convention, exhibition, hosting, and they will lift up the sector as a whole. In announcing the National Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan in Parliament earlier this month, I said that fast-tracking infrastructure projects, both in the public and in the private sector, is critical if we are to get the wheels of our economic activity turning again. It is vital that we do so to recover the jobs that have been lost during the pandemic, but also to create new ones. I'm pleased to note and to hear that around 1,500 annualized construction jobs were created over the 21 months it has taken to build this hotel, and that 565 direct full-time jobs will be created once the doors of this hotel open. In this sense, this development is a lifeline to the people of Ekurhuleni. This hotel and conference center forms part of the Ekurhuleni Aerotropolis master plan, and I congratulate the developers for completing the work within the master plan timelines. Akani Properties, you have shown us what is indeed possible when there is a dream, when there is a will, and when there is determination. As much as we seek to attract higher levels of foreign investment, it is all the more encouraging when our domestic investors take the lead. And Zamani, you are absolutely right. This is where the public sector, in the form of government, and the private sector can work together, with government creating a conducive environment for the private sector to invest. In doing all this, you are demonstrating to investors in foreign capitals that South Africa is a safe, competitive, and reliable investment destination. I have no doubt that having now opened your doors, you will soon be attracting business travelers, domestic travelers, as well as getting residents of this city to come and use this wonderful facility. So I congratulate the developers once more for having reached a milestone, for showing us the future that lies beyond this pandemic. And as a country, we are determined to build back a lot better than we did in the past. This is exactly what you have done here. But I also want to congratulate the city of Ekurhuleni and its leadership for having these big dreams about creating this Aerotropolis precinct and center here in Ekurhuleni. This is truly a dream on which to pivot our hopes for the future. When we spoke about the dream of creating new cities, this is partly what we were also talking about. Here we see Ekurhuleni expanding and attracting more and more investors. And to see a 300 billion rand investment germinating from the ground with 25 billion already invested is something that we can be proud of as South Africans. So Ekurhuleni is truly making us proud. They are dreaming big, and we want to grow big with them. And thank you very much for being the type of city that you are. I am sure that the people of Ekurhuleni can be proud to have the type of leadership that we have here, a leadership that is forward-looking, but more importantly, a leadership that has a vision. And this hotel forms part of the wonderful vision that we've got. And this is part of our economic reconstruction and rebuilding and recovery process. We are now taking off, and we are going to keep advancing ahead. We've just spent 25 billion. There's much more, 275 billion to be spent. And we invite investors, come to Ekurhuleni. This is where it is all happening. So thank you very much, and I applaud you, Akani, for having had the courage to get this project going. And I'm very proud to be here to open it, even as Dali Tambo is standing right at the door there. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Mr. President. Indeed, the Aerotropolis development is in motion. We